Are you serious? Are you serious? Well, guys, we are very serious. Are you serious? World War III. No, this isn't clickbait. This is the fears is gripping the world. There's new developments that's been happening here in the last 24 hours. There's some of this I can't even tell you. It's classified. But what I can tell you is things are shifting and changing in a big way. I want to give you some of that information really quick here. First, put a quick shout out for healthwithpaul.com. That's www.healthwithpaul.com. A cutting edge 2024 study shows that collagen can have a drastic positive effect on your skin health. The study found that women who take a daily collagen drink see a noticeable reduction in wrinkles and firmer, more hydrated skin. But it's important not to use just any random collagen. No. Make sure you use the collagen that's backed by real science. BioTrust put together right here at www.healthwithpaul.com. This is why I recommend you use this multi-collagen. Absolutely love how it can transform your skin for the better. Unlike poorly sourced collagen you'll typically find on a store shelf. No. If you use this has the top 5 critically acclaimed important collagen for your skin, made out of fish and plant collagen. The unique formulation in this designed to reduce the visible signs of aging, reduce the wrinkles, promote a youthful glow, promote elasticity, promote skin hydration. I mean, are you serious? This stuff is absolutely amazing. Put it in your coffee, put it in your smoothie, put it in your drink in the morning. Get started with this powerful BioTrust multi-collagen at www.healthwithpaul.com. That's www.healthwithpaul.com. You will be extremely glad that you did. I guarantee it. Well, guys, the end of the year is up on us. And Sunday night, I'll be doing my famous, as I always do, end of the world broadcast. I'm not going to do it on New Year's Eve this year. I'm going to do it Sunday night this year. And it's going to be very, 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 very prophetic. I'm taking a look at the 25 most important points that we have to watch for in 2025. You guys know, who have been following me for all these years, every time I've done this, our percentage of being on the money has been up in the 85, 90% range. And so we're going to be taking a look at it again. No, it's not a prophecy. It's not even a prediction. It's the 25 apocalyptic points to watch for, all of us together in 2025. It's based on biblical prophecies, based on intel, and it's based on experience, and it's based on some answer to prayer, some prophetic insight from the Lord. Not all of it, but some of it. And so we'll collectively put it together to give you the best intel of what's coming in 2025. That will be Sunday night live, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern right here, okay? Also, check out my Patreon channel. I'm putting info up there. I've been doing it every day, except for a couple days there I was down with the tooth. But, you don't want to miss out on this information, exclusive information and updates that we're doing over there at Patreon on a daily basis. Thank you for praying for me with the tooth. The tooth is gone. It was a tragic process, really. Came down with it Sunday night. Right after the show, I started getting this pain in my jaw and massive headaches. By Monday, I was in pretty bad shape. All the dentist offices were closed. Couldn't get in until yesterday. By then, it was in pretty bad condition. And so the whole half of my face swollen, the whole 9 yards. The tooth had to be removed. And because a root canal wouldn't work, it had to be removed. And removing it, it came out in pieces. Couldn't just pull it out. I mean, it just kept breaking and breaking in pieces and chipping and they kept chipping. And it was a barbaric event. I must be honest with you. That's what I said to my wife when I got home. I said, it was barbaric. Even the dentist felt terrible about this. There was 2 of them working on me, okay? And my whole jaw was infected anyway on top of that. So, yeah, wasn't that great. So I just could not go on yesterday and Heidi took over the show. But I'll say this, that the tooth is gone. The infection is not. I am on antibiotics. I am rinsing with salt water. You don't have to give me any tips. I'm doing everything that you could think of. But the tooth had to go. And now the swelling has gone down this morning. It's still there. But we're on the mend. We're coming back. We're back. Okay, so that's what we're going to try to do. I'm preaching this Sunday at Freedom Fellowship. I'm also singing this Sunday. We got a couple country singers coming in from Nashville that's going to be helping our praise and worship team Sunday. And I'm also going to be singing Mission Temple Fireworks Stand with this country arrangement. So that should be a lot of fun. Don't miss it. Then I'll be preaching as well. So don't miss Sunday morning at Freedom Fellowship. Starts at 9:30. The entire service will be broadcast live right here on my YouTube channel, as well as on ffctv.church. And then I'll be back Sunday night for the end of the world 2025 apocalyptic points to watch for. So all that. Let's get into what I want to talk about right now. Sorry for this long delay, but it is the end of the year. People are asking, where can I send my end of the year donations? Some of you are needing to send a check or money order, so you can do that. Go to our website. You can give right over the line or right over the air. You know, you can give on the website at paulbegleyprophecy.com. You can call the number 765-414-2230, or you can send a check or money order in the mail to the address that's scrolling. All of it's scrolling there at the bottom of the screen here. And so you can give. And thank you so much for helping us, helping Sister Heidi and I with the blankets, the Bibles, the chemo cap, the missions, and all the work it takes to reach the people with the gospel of Jesus Christ. Thank you guys so much for being such a powerful online church, the original online church, and that's why so many people are coming to the Lord. All right, here's what's going on. World War III gripping the world. World War III, as the U.S. has warned, prepare for Putin's land grab to reestablish the Soviet Union. Now, leaders in the U.S. and Europe have been urged to prepare for conflict with Russia, as the deal to end the Ukraine war will not stop Putin from trying to take further territory, according to intelligent reports. Now, World War III fears are mounting after the West was warned to prepare for Vladimir Putin's land grab that will reestablish the former Soviet Union. I've talked about this a lot. Mike from the World and I have talked about it a lot. Since 2014, when he first started using the little green men, moving into Ukraine. Mike and I remember having this conversation. I was in Jamaica, preaching a revival in Jamaica when Putin's little green men, when Putin took Crimea. And his little green men were already in eastern Ukraine, causing the Russian rebels to rise up and started this conflict. And Mike said then, Putin will never leave until he takes the entire country. And that was in 2014. And Putin did not leave until he fully invaded Ukraine in 2022. And now, almost 3 years into this war, Trump's trying to end it, put an end to it. But does that put an end to the Putin aggressive play to restore Mother Russia? According to reports, U.S. and European leaders have been told that Russia's tyrant, Vladimir Putin, boot-scooting, nuke-and-shooting Putin, will not halt his expansion plans if he's offered a deal to end the war in Ukraine by President-elect Donald Trump. In fact, he will use the next few years to try and assassinate President Vladimir Zelensky before undertaking a big land grab. According to Professor Anthony Glees, he's an expert in security and intelligence from the University of Buckingham in the United Kingdom. Now, the scholar believes that Putin is intent in trying to restore the old border of the Soviet Union. What Putin already said that in that 12-page manifesto that he delivered just before he invaded Ukraine in 2022. And I remember reading the entire 12 pages on the air live, telling you what Putin said he's going to do, which was restore Mother Russia and to take back all the property that Mother Russia once had under the time of Russian Premier Peter the Great. in some ways, Putin believes he is the reincarnation of Peter the Great, much like you see Macron tries to be a little bit like Napoleon Bonaparte, and sometimes you think Erdogan wants to restore the Ottoman Empire. World leaders have a tendency to want to go beyond what any of their other predecessors have done, trying to leave a legacy, what they hope to be a legacy that makes their nations great forever. Well, according to reports, and Trump's a little bit like that for sure, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. That's why we're still on the brink of World War III. Now, Professor Begley has said that Putin will turn to his strategic plan of reestablishing the USSR and its satellite system in all but name by turning on all the post-1997 NATO states. He said it is his intention to force them to leave NATO. And I believe we should all take this threat very seriously, as we should have taken all of his threats seriously, but we failed to do so. We're talking about Finland, Sweden, Poland, Czechia, Hungary, Bulgaria, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Romania, Slovakia, Slovenia, Albania, Croatia, Montenegro, and West Macedonia. In other words, it's a really big land grab that Putin is aiming for. And I'm confident we will oppose him by force, and that will be how World War III will develop. This will shape our deteriorating relationship with Russia. Trump, he said, is foolish that he thinks his false peace will start the clock for the countdown to war. His peace will only start the clock ticking. After Trump won the U.S. presidential election, he went on to call for an immediate ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. He later claimed in a post on his Truth Social website, Zelensky and Ukraine would like to make a deal and stop the madness. But in a television interview, Trump also said he would be open to reducing military aid to Ukraine and pulling the United States out of NATO. Those are two threats that have alarmed his NATO allies, many in the U.S. national security community, according to the Associated Press. And he's working to end a nearly 3-year war with Ukraine, but Trump further replies, I am trying to end it. But Professor Begley believes that any truce to end the war in Ukraine will not stop Putin from attempting to carry out his sinister long-term plan. He said, I do not believe for 1 second that Putin will stop his deal. Putin also said today that Russia was now well placed to establish its primary goals in Ukraine. Please note the word primary, because there's also secondary goals, and they're even more horrific than his primary goals. By 2027, Putin will be busily undermining the Trump Ukrainian state in all the usual ways, and I also think he will go out of his way to kill Zelensky. Professor Begley now believes the West is better off preparing for a long-term war with Russia, which he says is the most important thing we could do to prevent a war. I'm not so sure I agree with that. Professor John Swanson from the University of East London believes in 2025 we'll see the greatest challenges to international order since World War II ended 80 years ago. The danger stems from the rise of the great power rivalry and the decline of international cooperation. In 1945, the Allies created the United Nations even before the war ended, with the aim of promoting a new world order. In the 2020s, the order has effectively collapsed, as we can see in the wars in Ukraine, the Middle East, and tensions with China and Taiwan. Professor Swanson said that the arrival of Trump in the White House in January will add to the perilous situation. He says Trump's victory in the U.S. elections is a symptom that international instability is having an impact on the domestic politics of America. Donald Trump's well-known unpredictability symbolizes this and underlines how the domestic situation of the main powers has an impact on the international relations and will make 2025 a year of danger. Now, I wanted to read this article because I disagree with it. Okay? I wanted to read this article because I totally disagree with it, but there's parts of it you have to agree with, and that is this. This is the mentality of the European. He's from Buckingham, UK. Okay, that's the mentality of the Europeans. They're afraid of Putin. They're absolute. All of the Europe is afraid of Putin. They're absolutely scared to death of him because none of them in their own right can handle Russia alone. And for 45 or 50 years, the United States has been paying the bill, building up the military and setting up bases and putting troops different places and putting in different equipment to protect Europe from this very moment. And now, all of a sudden, the United States is in a situation where it realizes that the nuclear possibilities of the world are so real that the U.S. has to take a look back and say, what do we do if Europe doesn't make it? How do we protect ourselves? This is why you're hearing President Trump say, we need to buy Greenland. This is why Trump is saying, I'm taking the Panama Canal back. This is why Trump's talking to Canada about, why don't you just become a 51st state? Because basically what Trump is saying, from the Panama Canal all the way to Greenland, Trump wants to establish the Western Empire or the Western world, protecting ourselves against what will come roaring out of the East in case it is Putin, in case Putin does actually conquer Europe. The United States has to have a security plan for itself. Do we risk our existence to help save Europe, or do we first make sure we have all of our boundaries, all of our borders, both not just from the oceans, but from the north and south, which we see we have this migration problem that's out of control from Mexico, and we even have it out of control coming out of Canada. What about Greenland? We probably should set up military bases and secure Greenland. And there'd be no better way to protect Alaska and the United States than to have Canada have it all in one big deal. If Alaska and Canada was all connected all to the other 48 states, then you would have what's called the United States of the Western Hemisphere. Now, I'm not saying that Trump's going to take Canada, and he's not going to swallow Canada up. I don't believe that. He's negotiating with Canada to say, look, we've got to step up our military protection between us and Putin. And of course, Alaska is very vulnerable right there next to Russia. So you got Greenland up there, you've got Alaska up there, you've got the Canadians right there. Trump is looking for a way to shore all that up and secure the southern border of Mexico and take the Panama Canal back, because the Chinese are running up and down, running through the Chinese are basically running the Panama Canal for Panama. And that's a security risk. So we got to cut that off. And so Trump is starting negotiations with both the Canadians, not to take Canada, but to get Canada to agree with him that we got to shore up our relationship and protect, meaning defense mechanisms. Canada's going to have to spend a lot more money on defense than what they've been spending. And the United States is probably going to say to Denmark, you need to either let us buy Greenland, or you got to just let us run Greenland. You can still own it, but we're setting up bases everywhere. We got to protect our side of the world. There's negotiations beginning already, and this is huge. And I'm going to tell you why it's huge. It's not because Trump's trying to do a land grab. It's because Trump is trying to make sure we don't lose what we got already here. At the same time, he wants to try to get Putin to change his mind about trying to reestablish Mother Russia. Let me read on to some more articles. Here's one that just came out this morning. It says, Trump promises to end the Russian-Ukraine war and prevent World War III. Okay? According to this report, the newly elected U.S. President Donald Trump stated that he will end Russia's war against Ukraine. Moreover, he claims he will prevent World War III. He said, I will end the war in Ukraine. I will stop the chaos in the Middle East, and I will prevent, I promise, World War III. And we are very close to World War III. He says, during the same speech, the U.S. president also said that he wants to meet with President leader Vladimir Putin to end the war in Ukraine. However, the moment of the meeting will have to wait. Why? Because he wants to strategically get in position with Greenland, with Canada, with Mexico border, and with Panama. One of the things I want to do, he said quickly, President Putin said that he wants to meet with me as soon as possible, so we have to wait for this. But we will have to end that war, Trump emphasized. He also reiterated that if he had been president, this war would have never happened in the first place. Okay, so we hear Trump there. And there's another article that came out that says, can Donald Trump stave off World War III? This was from November, just 10 days after the election. It says President-elect Trump says he's quickly will end the Ukraine war, but what happens if his previously failed unconventional diplomacy fails again? North Korean troops recently arrived in Russia to fight against Ukraine. They have transformed the worries that the war will spread regionally into the fears that a global World War III may be on the horizon. Now, North Korea's entry into the conflict is but a piece of an anti-Western alliance that stretches from the Pacific Ocean to the Mediterranean Sea. It includes not only Russia and North Korea, but also Iran, including proxy militants it sponsors in Palestine, Lebanon, Iraq, as well as China. So so each harbors an ambition to upend the 8 decades of dominance by what they consider the bullying from the West, and especially leadership by the United States, which they regard as being in decline. Western analysis see Russia's war in Ukraine, along with the participation of North Korean troops, as the first step toward undermining the democratic West. We're in a pre-war era leading to global war, most serious, the most dangerous, and the most challenging we've had since World War II. And this is Jack Keenan, which you see him a lot on Fox. He's that retired U.S. general who heads the Institute for the Study of War out of Washington, D.C. He says, I do believe World War III is in the future. And now he's been screaming about that just about every time you see him on television. Meanwhile, missiles are now the biggest killer of airline passengers. Missiles shooting down planes. We know Russia shot down this passenger plane a couple days ago. Why did they do it? And as Heidi has been researching who was on the plane, she has already found part of the manifest. She has found out every person that died on the plane, and she's researching those individual people. She's also trying to get her hands on who are the 29 people who lived. Heidi is trying to establish what would have been the motivation behind shooting down the plane. It wasn't an accident. Guys, they didn't just mistake. There's no mistakes. There's no mistakes when you shoot a plane down, a commercial airliner. The sophisticated capabilities of the United States and Russia and China and all these big players, they know exactly what each plane is, its serial number, who the pilot is, who he's married to, what he had for dinner. They know everything about the manifest, who's on each plane. Trust me, they shot this plane down for a reason, just like they shot the plane down over Ukraine back in 2014. And just like many other reasons that we see planes that crash, or like, for instance, what happened to the Malaysian Flight 370? Do you really believe that this plane disappeared off the face of the earth? Do you really think the aliens took the plane away? Do you really think this plane crashed into the ocean and we never saw it again, and we didn't know where it went, and we can't find the black box, and we don't know, and it was in the air for 8 hours, and we couldn't detect on a radar? We got satellites everywhere, guys. You know what I'm saying? But this crash that happened a couple days ago, Azerbaijan airline jet in Kazakhstan, it officially confirmed it was shot down. It would be the third major fatal shooting down of a passenger jet since 2014, according to Flight Safety Foundation's Aviation Safety Network, a global database of accidents and incidents. The tally means now 500 people have died from 3 different airlines shot down, all by the Russians. Now, Azerbaijan's investigation into the crash indicate the plane was shot down by a Russian anti-aircraft missile and shrapnel. It adds to the worrying catalog of shoot-downs. And the aviation risk advisor at security specialist ISARR. And listen, not just the 3 airlines. What about the plane that went down with Perosian, who was trying to take out in a coup Putin? And Putin said, it's okay, we're fine. And the next thing you know, the guy's plane gets shot down, he's dead. Okay? And what about the Iranian president, whose helicopter crashes into the side of a mountain just after he sworn the annihilation of Israel? I don't think Russia took him down. I think Israel took him down. I don't think the fog did it. I think it was Israel or the Lord himself, God himself, taking that helicopter down in the fog because of their cursing of Israel as a nation. But these aircrafts going down are not by accident. And when we studied the Malaysian flight 370, we know that the manifest showed that there was 18 people on that flight, folks, that was on its way to China that were on the patent for the semiconductors that are used for defense purposes in many different aircrafts and drones and different space satellite and military satellite systems. There was 18 people on that flight who were on the patents for these military semiconductors from Austin, Texas. We know this. And they all 18 disappeared with the rest of the plane. There was enough reason to take the plane and not shoot it down, but just take it and land it and get and extract the information from these people. It's still my theory. It's still my number one theory. What happened? That's why Heidi is studying the manifest of this current situation. Who was on this plane? Heidi is working on that, and I'm sure others probably should be too. These are the deadliest attacks we know. The trend of planes now being shot down. Increasing civilian aviation deaths from war also reflect both a growing number of armed conflicts internationally and the increasing prevalence of powerful anti-aircraft weaponry. If a missile was indeed the cause of this week's disaster, it would mean that the 3 deadliest shoot-downs in the past 10 years all involved apparently passenger planes being the targets of anti-aircraft military capability. Okay. One was the crash we just had Wednesday. Russia shot it down. 38 dead, 29 survived. We had the midair destruction of Malaysian flight Boeing 777 flying over the zone in Ukraine. All 298 people shot down, dead by Russia. And we had the third one was the Iranian forces of a Ukrainian international Boeing 737, which left Iran and killed all 176 people on board. Iran's missile defense system had been on alert for a potential U.S. strike, so Iran shot down the plane. It was an international Ukrainian flight and killed all 176 people. The Iranians shot it down after it left Iran. So the flight left Iran. It was headed back toward Ukraine, and the Iranians shot it down and killed all 176 people. And that's not even counting all the people lost in the Malaysian flight 370 that disappeared off the face of the earth somewhere. So what I'm saying is this is all part of World War III, guys. This is what this is all is. This is all part of World War III. And so Trump wants to have peace, but he has to prepare for war. Trump wants peace, but he must prepare for war. He must prepare and protect the borders of America, and not just our borders, but beyond our borders. He has to set up lines of defense. That's why he's looking at Greenland and Canada, and he's looking at Mexico and Panama. 2 lines of defense on both the north and the south. The north is Canada and Greenland. The south, that's to protect us from Russia. The south is Mexico and Panama. That's to protect us from China. And this is what he's doing. And the talking heads on the media are going to keep japping their jaws and running around, and the Democrats and everybody's going to be wringing their hands, and we're going to see all this whining and crying. But the truth is, Trump is negotiating. He's negotiating so that he can set up military apparatuses to ensure the protection, the long-term protection of the United States of America. Did I know about the sirens going off in Israel? Yes, I did. Matter of fact, we covered that again last night, just right at the end during the broadcast. And yeah, I know are they happening again now? WRP3? Is it happening right now? I know it happened again last night. It was the 3rd time in 4 days. And that's why I got took off the air because I was breaking the news at the time it happened. But if it is happening now, just let me know, and then I'll double, triple check it. I have my thing over here, but it's not going off right at this moment. But I do know about last night, yes. And I know this is because the war between Israel and the Houthis has really stepped up, guys. It has really stepped up. The Houthis know they're in trouble. Here's the deal. Netanyahu, for Hanukkah, gave a speech, and he told you what he's going to do. He brought back the Hanukkah miracle, which was during the war with during the Maccabees, during the war, how that God kept the menorah lit for 8 days without oil to put in it. It's called that's the Hanukkah miracle. And that's what created this new feast called Hanukkah, 8 days of Hanukkah. Well, he reiterated that story as if to say, that's what we're doing with Yemen, the Houthi rebels. So he's destroyed Hamas in Gaza. Remember, Hamas started this whole thing, which is orchestrated by Iran. Let's not forget who started the whole thing. Let's not forget the ideology of Iran to destroy Israel. They have an ideology that the 12th Imam, the Mahdi, cannot return until Jerusalem is in an apocalypse. That's their belief. That's their eschatology of their ideology of why they do what they do. Not all the Iranians. We're talking about. So here's what happened. Yes, that's exactly right. MH37, you're exactly right. The MIT engineers, they were right. They were specialized in RFID and semiconductors. They were out of Austin, Texas. They were on the plane. There was 18 of them. That's why I believe the Chinese hijacked it and took that plane. But, that's still what I believe. And I'm with you. Here's the deal. They believe you have to destroy Jerusalem, or the 12th Imam, known as the Muslim Messiah or the Mahdi, cannot return. Because of this radical Shiite belief, they are hell-bent on destroying Jerusalem and destroying Israel. So they attack Israel using the Houthis, using Hamas. Israel has crushed Hamas. Then they start attacking Israel, shooting thousands of rockets at Israel from Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. Israel has decapitated and crippled Hezbollah. So now they're firing ballistic missiles by the Houthi rebels out of Yemen. Israel will crush and destroy the Houthis. Meanwhile, Syria has fallen apart. And that's because Turkey pushed that agenda with their rebels, and that has left that entire Syria is now completely in state of chaos. Israel knows that, so Israel has to go in, broaden the Golan Heights buffer zone, take Mount Hermon, and blow up all the potential nuclear stashes and all the different weapon stashes, and blow everything up that's in Syria to make sure that there's nobody can use anything on Israel. And then Israel will finally turn their guns toward the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and Iran. And that's coming. That's why you're on the brink. That is why you're on the brink of World War III. The world grips and fears. The world fears the grip of World War III. This is what's causing the whole world to fear that World War III will grip the whole world. It's what's going to happen in the Middle East in the next 6 months with Israel and Iran after the Houthis are finished off, and what's going to happen with Russia, Ukraine, and the rest of Europe. This is what everyone is afraid of. Will we survive 2025? Have you been to Jesus for the cleansing power? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Are you fully trusting in His grace this hour? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Are you washed in the blood, in the soul cleansing blood of the Lamb? Are your garments spotless? Are they white as snow? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Oh, yes! Are you walking daily by the Savior's side? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Do you rest each moment in the crucified? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Or are you washed in the blood, in the soul-cleansing blood of the Lamb? Are your garments spotless? Are they white as snow? And be washed in the blood of the Lamb. Come on! When the bridegroom cometh, will your robes be white? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Will your soul be ready for those mansions bright, and be washed in the blood of the Lamb? Or are you washed in the blood, in the soul-cleansing blood of the Lamb? Are your garments spotless? Are they white as snow? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Now lay aside those garments that are stained with sin, and be washed in the blood of the Lamb. There's a fountain flowing for the soul unclean. Oh, be washed in the blood of the Lamb. Are you washed in the blood, in the soul-cleansing blood of the Lamb? Oh, that's right. Are your garments spotless? Are they white as snow? Are you washed in the blood? Your comment is showing Rise Up Unafraid. I can see it. Are you serious? Oh, we're very serious. We're very serious. Now, we're talking about World War III. World War III fears grip the world, as I've been showing you, several reasons. You can see one guy's ideology from the UK. He believes Trump is going to cause World War III by not fully protecting Europe from Putin. Others believe that Putin is the one who's going to cause World War III because of his relentless pursuit to restore Mother Russia. Others believe World War III will be caused because of the radical Islamist belief that the Jews have to be destroyed and the Holy Land has to be taken over to bring about the Mahdi, the return of the Mahdi. And others believe it's the Chinese that are going to cause it with their desire to really rule the world. The spirit of the Antichrist is involved in all of this. Now, I want to read from my book, and if you haven't got a copy of my book, you really should right now. They've actually just run a sale on it over there at Amazon. I've seen they're running a sale at Amazon. They've reduced the price to $13.39. So that's pretty unbelievable, really. And it is right now, Revelation 9:11 right now is ranked number 28th. It's the ranked number 28th bestseller in the category of church and state, religious studies. Okay. Number one, of course, is Jonathan Cahn's The Dragon Prophecy. All right. And we interviewed him about that book. What a great, I see Phil Robinson of Duck Dynasty's book is number 4. I could be wrong, but I doubt it. Jonathan Cahn's book, The Harbinger 2, is ranked number 11th in this category. Kirk Cameron's book, Born to be Brave, is number 13th. Dr. Ben Carlson's book, Pkwy, is ranked number 15. And here's another one. Tom Horn's book, We Are Legion, for We Are Many, is ranked number 27th. And then Revelation 9:11, our book right here is ranked number 28 in this category. Pretty neat. I want to read to you. If you haven't got a copy of this, you really should. And if you have family members who haven't, you think really need to know what's going on, and they won't read the Bible. I mean, you know, if you say, go read the Bible, you'll find out they'll never pick up the Bible. They'll say it's too complicated, I don't understand. But a book like this breaks it down for them in today's real world with things they understand, things they can see. And then it ties it. What I want to do is I take my time and I tie this to biblical prophecy along with world events and interviews that I've done and interviews that Troy Anderson has done with different speakers and different scholars and different people, and interwove it into the book from the vision I had of Revelation 9:11. Let me read to you what I have here in the book about this category. When this war begins, talk about, will Russia nuke America? When this war begins, Russia may destroy the United States through a nuclear attack, according to the late prophecy teacher Chuck Missler. He once told me that in October of 2015. A third party is involved, he said, a party that is not Gog, and it is not Israel. It's a hailstone of fire will fall from Gog upon those who dwell securely in the coastlines. In Ezekiel 39, verse 6. Who are they? He said. We don't know, but it's another party. One of the speculations is it might be an occasion for an overdue judgment on the United States, that we start saber rattling and we get hit by a bystander. That gets us to a whole other subject in the terms of why the United States is ripe for judgment. Clearly, if you stand back and try to look at the United States as God would see it, we're dealing with situations where we outlaw his word in our schools. We will not allow his name to be used in public places. We do everything we can think of to insult him. It's astonishing to see if it would look from God's point of view. And so it's very reasonable interrogation that we're overdue for judgment. And I would certainly think so. Talking about the United States. That was Chuck Missler. That was his quote to me on October of 2015. Now, if the United States is destroyed in a war of Gog and Magog, this would leave a power vacuum on the planet. A time of crisis such as this could very well be what propels the Antichrist to prominence in global geopolitics, enabling him to sign a peace treaty with Israel, stopping the overwhelming scourge in Isaiah 28:18, and starting the tribulation period. Many prophecy scholars believe the rapture will happen simultaneously with the war of Gog and Magog and the destruction of America. We believe that the war of Gog and Magog could be part of the fourth seal judgment, in which a quarter of the world's population will die. Now, after that, the construction of the third Jewish temple in Daniel 9:27 and in Revelation 11, verse 1, would begin, along with the formation of a global government. Daniel 2, verses 40 through 44, Daniel 7, verse 7, Daniel 7, verse 23, and in Revelation 17, verse 12. The rise of a universal religion. Revelation 17, verses 1 through 5, Revelation 18, verses 13 through 17. And the emergence of a global economic system, Revelation chapter 13, 15 through 18. Christ breaking the seven seals in Revelation 6 and in Revelation 8, and the seven trumpet judgments in Revelation 8, and Revelation chapter 9, including 9:11. The onslaught of these judgments would catapult the world into a state of chaos for the first half of the tribulation period. And as you'll recall, the demonic creatures initially released from the bottomless pit are only allowed to torture people for 5 months and not to kill them. And only those men who do not have the seal of God in their foreheads. You can read that in Revelation chapter 9, verse 4. So that raises some questions. Does this mean Christians have already gone to heaven, or does it mean believers are still on earth, but they're not being attacked because they have the seal of God on their foreheads? If this is the case, it is possible that Christians, we cannot say for certain. And as we discussed, the second half of the tribulation, chapter 9, involves the release of 200 million demonic horsemen who kill a third of humanity. We believe the sixth trumpet war allows the Antichrist and the false prophet to control the government and require everyone to take the mark of the beast in Revelation 13 or face decapitation, which is Revelation chapter 20. So in this book here, we break down for you, that's Chuck Misler talking to me, and then some of our analysis with Troy Anderson. We really believe that we're on the brink, guys. What we're watching right now is fulfillment of biblical prophecy, the setting up. I just wonder, will we survive? What I mean by that, will America or will Europe? I think America survives 2025. I just wonder, will Europe be in the middle of World War III before we get through this next year of 2025? And if there becomes a serious conflict between Russia and some of the other nations in Europe, does China then jump in with their attack on Taiwan? And then what does America do in the midst of all of that? Or is it because Israel goes after the Ayatollah al-Khomeini? Does that create World War III breaking out in the Middle East? There's three different options: China attacking Taiwan, Russia moving on into other nations in Europe, or Israel and Iran in a direct conflict. This is going to be a very, very dangerous period of time, these next 12 months. It really is. Trump only has 2 full years of his reign. Even though he'll be president for 4, the first 2 years is when his doctrine, his aggressiveness, where he wants to take America, how he wants to secure America will all take place. And then the next years 3 and 4 will be the advancement of J.D. Vance, preparing for the next leader while Trump still reigns. So, and meanwhile, Putin is not getting any younger, so he's not going to sit around and take another 4-year hiatus waiting on Trump to finally get out of the way. He has to move forward. So does the Ayatollah Khomeini, because if you're the Iranian regime, you've watched Hezbollah be crushed. You've watched Hamas is crushed in Gaza. Hezbollah is crippled in southern Lebanon. The Houthis are getting destroyed and will be destroyed in the next few months in Yemen. And Syria is in a state of chaos, which is there's out of control. He has no security or no control over it now. And so if you're the Ayatollah Khomeini, you're wondering, is your end about to happen? Is Netanyahu coming for you? Does he have the blessing of Trump to go get you and end your radical Shiite religion and your dominance and your threat in the Middle East? And can Trump get the Saudi Arabians to agree with him? Can he get the Jordanians? Can he get the Egyptians? Can he get the Kuwaitis? Can he get the Bahrains? Can he get the entire, what we call the Muslim monarchy group, the Sunnis? Are they all going to jump in and help Trump make that happen, or not, or at least not get in the way and let him do what he's got to do using Israel as the fighters? I mean, guys, we've never been here before. We've seen it. We've seen it shaping up. China, Taiwan, the South Pacific War with North Korea being the wild card. But North Korea has already jumped in and sent fighters to help Russia fight Ukraine. So that means that's tied. You have that Russian connection is linked together. So will the South Pacific blow up in 2025? Will China make its run on Taiwan in 2025? Will Putin, Trump, the NATO leader is now the head of Bilderberg. What? Bilderberg has gone public now all of a sudden, like the World Economic Forum. These secret societies are no longer secret no more. These shadow governments are no longer in the shadows no more. The Pelosi's of the world, the Schumers of the world, the Trudeaus of the world, the Charles Schwab, the Klaus Schwabs of the world. Jens Stoltenberg now all of a sudden goes from NATO to Bilderberg. There's no more shadow. They're no more in the shadow. Now they're coming into the light where they'll be exposed. So we've got the space war, Space Force. Drones over our homes and our phones, and we're not alone. And all of these things are systematically happening at the same time. Will we have a war in the South Pacific with China and Taiwan in 2025? Will we have a war in Europe beyond Russia and Ukraine? Will we have a war beyond what we've already got going on in the Middle East, directly between Israel, Iran, and others involved? And will there be an attack on the United States of America in the midst of all of this? I'm going to address it all Sunday night with the 25 apocalyptic points to watch for in 2025. So don't miss it. Sunday night, I'll be live at 7 p.m. Eastern. And I'm not even, that's just war. I'm not even talking about Planet X or the solar apocalypse Mike talked about last night. Mike talked about it with Heidi. He talked about droughts, it wasn't going to rain. He talked about volcanism going off the charts, volcanoes erupting. He talked about winds and tornadoes and cyclones and monsoons and typhoons and hurricane. He talked about food shortages. He talked about the disappearing of eggs. It's all coming down, guys. It's all coming down. It isn't, listen, it's going to get ugly just before the coming of Jesus Christ. That's why you want to be washed in the blood. That's why you want to be ready. That's why you want to be looking up for your redemption drawn nigh. And that's also why you want to be praying one for another. The church has got, and that's why we can't. And let me just say this. These people, I'm so irritated with it. You wouldn't believe it. You can't even go to YouTube right now. If you look on the right column of your YouTube channels, every time you go to Paul Begley's to go watch one of my videos, just on the right-hand side, they would connect me to, down the side, you would see, it'd be my video, and then over on the right-hand column of other videos you could go watch on YouTube, they used to have, You can go watch L.A. Marzulli. Go watch Lisa Haven. Go watch King Clement. Go watch Chuck Misler. Go watch Dr. Baxter. You go watch Perry Stone. Go watch David Jeremiah. Go watch, Derek Gilbert. Okay. Other prophecy speakers that were, fairly prominent. They're not over there now. You don't hardly ever. What you do see is how terrible, the attack on Daystar, how terrible everybody is there. How they talk, they trash Joni, they trash the kids, they trash this, they trash that, and then they trash, the pastor out of Dallas, Morris, and then they trash Jakes, and then they trash Donnie Swaggart, and then they trash this, and they trash everybody you can think of. Mostly, and Osteen, they just trash Copeland, they just trash Baker, they just trash right on down the line, and everything is every time it says one of their names, and then there's this scandal. It's always a scandal. It's always a scandal. It's always a scandal. And then another one. And then it's different people doing these videos. If you look, it's different people doing the videos, but they're all using the same format. They're using the same pictures. They're using the same generated AI generated stuff. It's all gossip. It's all destructive. It's all trashing the ministries of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And they're just tearing them down one by one, by one, by one, by one, by one, by one. The whole focus. So even though you come to watch my stuff and find out what's going around the world and talk about Jesus and talk about the coming of the Lord and talk about salvation and how we're getting people saved and sending blankets to people to be healed, on the right-hand corner, you don't see all the guys that you don't see all of the people that I know and I've done conferences with and I know are preaching the gospel and they're winning people to Christ and they're talking about Bible prophecy. You don't see their stuff, the stuff that really would match what I'm talking about, or at least be another perspective of it. No, instead you see nothing but destroying the body of Christ, one by one by one by one. And even if some of it is true and some of it isn't, most of it isn't, but a lot of it, some of it could be, it don't matter. It's all about destroying the body of Christ. Trash, 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 tear down, tear down, tear down. You can see there has been an there's an initiative going on. They've put a tear down the body of Christ initiative. And it all started this summer with Robert Morris. And then it's continued on beyond the truth, making stuff up, creating scandals, embellishing situations, creating allegations, causing people to wonder, planting negative seeds. And by the time you're done, if you keep doing that to everybody, just keep doing it down the line, after a while, people just throw their hand up and say, there's nobody right. There's nothing righteous. There's never anything anyway. And why do I have to serve God? And nobody else says. Good reason for everybody to go to hell in a handbasket together instead of looking for the truth, but instead of putting the people over here that are doing the work of Christ, instead of talking about the great churches all across America and around the world, all the missionaries that are saving souls, all the people that are working for the gospel, all the people who are trying to make a difference, all the people who are making a difference, all the good ministries are doing great things. All they want to do is tear down the whole body of Christ at once. It's like a domino effect. And it's a scary thing to see because when I see it happening, I know what's happening. The effects of that are devastating. And they're doing it right now because of Trump. Because he got in, because of the evangelical vote. He got in because the Christians prayed and fasted and voted, and it happened. Now, that base, that the Church of Jesus Christ, that pulling together of unity, they got to figure out a way to rip it apart. They got to tear it down piece by piece, find somebody in error, find somebody in fault, make up 3 or 4 that are not true, then to find someone who is out of whack, and then tear down 4 or 5 more that it's not true. and just tear it. This is what will bring back, this is what brings the church to its knees. And I don't mean in prayer, but become ineffective in our ability to win the world to Christ. If you're looking for that perfect person, you'll never find them. If you're looking for that perfect church, you'll never find it. If you're looking for that perfect pastor, you'll never find him. But if you're looking for Jesus, he's everywhere. His mercy, his love, his compassion is actually everywhere. But they're tearing down the gospel of Jesus Christ because they're really tearing down Jesus. And that's why we have to be very, very conscious of that. Say, oh no, this isn't good. And we got to walk, we got to be wise and harmless and full of love. And let's get people to Christ. I'm saddened by what I see. And I'm saddened by what I know. That there is some bad stuff. But at the same time, and I'm heartbroken by, and I see the corruption out there. And there is corruption. I'm talking about even in the church world. There is. 100% there is. There'd be lying if you wouldn't be. But I also see that they want to just throw the whole baby out with the bathwater. And that there is really good people who are really doing really good work for Christ. And the devil hates that. That's what the devil really hates. He wants to stop us all. So let's keep praying. Because 2025, we're going to need each other. Because this war on Christ is going to increase like never before. We got to work together, all of us. God bless you, BP. Good to see you. Good to see all of you guys. Thank you for your prayers. I've went a little too long on this one, but I'm making up for lost time. Pray we don't have World War III. But if we do, we better know what to do. And we better know who to trust in. And your trust is in Jesus Christ and him alone. But we still need each other. And we still got to trust each other to some degree. Okay? We do. We have to lean on one another. We got to pray. We put all our faith in God, but we still need each other. So let's be sure we do that. I believe we can. I believe this online church can, and I believe that we can also trust others as well. Because Christ is coming. If you're not saved, give your life to Jesus Christ. We're running out of time. I'll be back with more on the coming apocalypse.